The command deck hummed quietly as the human officer adjusted the controls, his eyes scanning the endless starfield outside the viewport. The ship was massive, but it felt fragile against the vast emptiness of space. He had been assigned to the diplomatic mission with little preparation, a representative of humanity among civilizations far older and more technologically advanced. Still, he carried himself with the calm focus that humans were known for, an attribute that would soon mark him as extraordinary. The alien princess entered the chamber without ceremony, her presence immediately commanding attention. Her skin shimmered faintly under the ambient lighting, and her eyes, unusually large and luminous, held the weight of her entire civilization's expectations. Every motion she made was deliberate, precise, a dance of authority and grace. Her attendants and guards formed a respectful semicircle around her, all waiting for the moment of judgment, yet none had spoken on her behalf. The humans stood at attention, aware of the silent scrutiny from creatures whose lifespans exceeded human decades in mere years. He could feel the tension in the room, not from fear, but from the weight of a culture unfamiliar and grand. Every word he might say seemed inadequate, but he did not falter. There was a certain steadiness in humans, a quiet assurance rooted in a combination of intuition and courage. It was this quality that caught the princess's eye. A ritual had brought them here, a formal assembly in which the princess was to select an envoy for a crucial interstellar mission. The candidates were not only skilled negotiators and warriors, but also represented the pride of their respective worlds. Yet, as the process unfolded, the human's calm focus and unwavering posture became apparent. While others flustered under her gaze, he remained measured, analyzing the situation with both logic and empathy. His presence was unlike anything the princess had encountered. Whispers circulated among the courtiers, questioning the audacity of a human standing among elite beings of their kind. They noted his simplicity, his unadorned uniform, and yet there was a subtle force about him that transcended superficial appearances. He made eye contact with the princess once, and in that brief exchange, something unspoken passed between them, a recognition that intelligence, courage, and honor were qualities not bound to species. The princess's hand rose slowly, pointing toward the human. Time seemed to halt as the chamber waited for her declaration. "I select this human," she said, her voice clear and resonant, echoing against the walls in a tone that carried both authority and finality. The words were met with stunned silence. Courtiers blinked, attendants paused mid-motion, and even the guards seemed momentarily frozen. It was unprecedented for a member of a civilization to select a human over those of her own world. Yet in that moment, the human officer understood the magnitude of the choice. He felt no pride, only a profound responsibility. The princess studied him carefully, her expression unreadable, yet her eyes betrayed a spark of approval. This was a rare recognition, one earned not through ceremony or ancestry, but through character and action. The human took a cautious step forward, bowing slightly to acknowledge her decision. The room's energy shifted as murmurs of curiosity and disbelief rippled through the audience. Other candidates stared, some with irritation, others with grudging respect. The human did not waver. He simply nodded, understanding that selection by the princess carried duties beyond imagination. Over the following days, he traveled alongside the princess through the palace, learning about her culture, its rules, and its history. Each corridor was lined with tapestries depicting victories and sacrifices, symbols of endurance that mirrored humanity's own struggles. He listened and observed, asking questions at moments of discretion, demonstrating both humility and insight. During their conversations, the princess revealed the burdens of leadership that weighed heavily upon her. She spoke of alliances and rivalries, of threats that stretched across star systems, and of the delicate balance required to maintain peace. The human responded not with complex theories or alien jargon, but with practical solutions, drawing upon a perspective shaped by the simplicity and adaptability of his species. His answers were clear, logical, and infused with empathy, qualities that resonated deeply with her. In the council chambers, where debates often erupted into displays of power, the human's voice held steady. He challenged ideas without arrogance, proposed strategies that considered both tactical and moral outcomes, and demonstrated a willingness to risk personal safety for the greater good. Slowly, other delegates began to notice. The human's approach was different, not superior in technology or lineage, but uniquely effective because it relied on reasoning and courage rather than intimidation. The alien princess observed this transformation, feeling a mixture of astonishment and admiration. She had expected a competent envoy, perhaps a diplomat skilled in the arts of persuasion or a warrior adept at strategy. Instead, she found a human who embodied qualities that transcended conventional measures of power. His bravery was not loud or performative. It was subtle, steadfast, and reliable. Word of her choice spread quickly across the palace and beyond, reaching distant sectors where humanity was largely unknown. Reports described the unprecedented selection of a human by a figure of such prominence, generating curiosity and, in some quarters, skepticism. Yet those who witnessed the human firsthand understood the reasoning. Here was an individual whose mind, ethics, and courage could bridge worlds. The journey that followed was fraught with challenges. The princess and her human envoy navigated treacherous negotiations with other species, encountered hostile territories, and endured unforeseen dangers aboard starships vulnerable to cosmic hazards. In every trial, the human's ingenuity and composure became invaluable. He improvised solutions when technology failed, negotiated settlements with unexpected tact, and inspired trust even among beings initially hostile to humans. Throughout these experiences, the bond between the human and the princess deepened. Their mutual respect grew from understanding each other's strengths and limitations. He admired her wisdom and decisiveness, and she valued his courage and steadfastness. Their relationship was not built on superficial affection, but on shared purpose, earned through trials that tested not only skill but character. The princess occasionally confided in him, revealing her fears for her people and the enormity of the responsibilities she bore. The human listened without judgment, offering insights grounded in pragmatism and humanity's own history of endurance and cooperation. In moments of peril, he stood as a pillar of support, demonstrating that trust and reliability were not species-bound, but qualities of character. As their mission approached a critical juncture, they encountered a crisis that threatened multiple civilizations. A rogue fleet had seized control of a vital resource, and conflict seemed inevitable. Other envoys hesitated, bound by protocol and fear, but the human formulated a plan that balanced tactical precision with diplomacy. Against long odds, his strategy succeeded, neutralizing the threat and preventing bloodshed. In the aftermath, the princess addressed the assembly, acknowledging the human's extraordinary contribution. Her words were deliberate, carrying weight across the gathered species. "This human," she said, "has shown that courage, intelligence, and integrity can exist beyond the bounds of heritage. In him, we find not only an ally, but a model of what is possible when we look beyond ourselves." The human officer stood silently, aware that his actions represented more than individual effort. They symbolized the potential of humanity. In the eyes of the princess and the assembled dignitaries, humans were no longer outsiders. They were a people capable of remarkable insight, courage, and honor, qualities that could influence the course of civilizations. From that day forward, the human was no longer merely a participant in diplomacy. He became a symbol of humanity's capacity to bridge worlds. The princess continued to rely on his judgment and counsel, and their partnership shaped alliances, avoided conflicts, and inspired trust across interstellar borders. The once simple envoy had become an exemplar of what it meant to be human, not through technology or dominance, but through steadfast character and unyielding integrity. The alien princess never forgot the moment she first pointed at him and declared her selection. That single act had set in motion a series of events that redefined relationships between species and illuminated the power of human qualities in ways no one had anticipated. Her choice had been bold, unconventional, and transformative, proving that even in a galaxy filled with beings of extraordinary abilities, There was something uniquely compelling about a human who stood firm in courage, reason, and honor. In the quiet moments, when the stars stretched infinitely beyond the ship's hull, the human officer reflected on the journey. He thought not of accolades or recognition, but of the trust placed in him, the responsibility he bore, and the potential within humanity to make a difference on a scale beyond imagination. He understood that the princess had seen something in him, a reflection of qualities that existed within his species at its best: resilience, courage, and the capacity to act rightly even when the outcome was uncertain. The galaxy had changed, not by conquest or intimidation, but by the quiet determination of a human who chose to act with integ.